All right, so we're going to get this started real quick. This is a quick tutorial on how to tune your filament for tangled filament. Someone reached out to me on Facebook, said they were having some problems with clogged nozzles, and since I'm not having any problems and I post frequently about how great I think this filament is, they reached out and asked me if I could share some settings. So I'm going to walk through very quickly, hopefully, how I do this. It's really not quick. So first thing you're going to do, you're going to come into Bambu Studio. You're going to open up just a blank screen. No, don't pull any parts or anything. You're going to make sure you have your A1 Mini or whatever computer or whatever printer you are setting up for this filament. On mine, it's currently loaded into the A1 Mini. So I have my A1 Mini pulled up here. I have it under generic PLA. When I come into the device right here, I'm set up. It's got the A1 Mini. You can see in the top left corner. When I come down to my filament, it's generic filament, generic PLA. I already have done this a couple times, so I have two different settings for my tangled. You're going to be on the original default. So this should be what you're looking like. You've loaded it into your exterior spool. You're on generic PLA, default settings. You're going to come over to your prepare tab, A1 Mini, whatever nozzle you are using. You will have to do this for each nozzle. If you want to do it on all of your nozzles, you need to run this calibration every time. What type of plate you're using. You're going to be under generic filament to start with. And the basic 20, all of this matters. So anytime you change any of this, it's going to make a difference. So here we're going to jump over from generic PLA. We're going to go to edit. A couple things you're going to go change. This is pretty important. Don't mess this part up. So we're going to come down to the nozzle temperature. Very minimum 240. I have one set at 240 and 245, so I will do this one at 250. Yes, I know I'm making changes. Same thing down here. The print temperature nozzle setting. You don't want to have it initial layer and other layers. It's all one thing, all the same setting. So based on what textured plate, smooth plate you have here, you're going to have your plate settings. I have been able to get my plate temperature down as low as 40 degrees, but honestly, I don't mess with that. I just leave it as it is. This is not where I'm trying to make things happen. Max volumetric speed. This is what determines how fast your filament's going to be able to print. I jump it right to 18. I've done this many times. I've never had a problem at 18. I have not tried going higher. Lower did not seem to work well. I don't change anything on these top settings. This is it right here. I'm going to hit save, and this is where things get important. We're not going to save under this setting. We're going to say tangled filament. I'm going to call this one 3 because that's my third time, and it's going to be a 0.4 nozzle at 250 Celsius. That's really what I go with. I'm trying to get as much information in here as possible. If you do the settings, your temperatures for your different plates, hopefully that will work. I always pretty much use the textured PEI plate. The only one I've had a hard time with is the carbon fiber plate. That one's given me a lot of challenge with this particular filament. So now that we've got this set, it's saved here, it updated over here. Oh, the other thing I like to do here, I like to specify the actual printer because I do have this across all my printers. They all have their own unique settings. So keep that in mind. So we save that, it updates over here. This part's really important, and what I do, go back into the edit, hit save, copy and paste, or copy this. You're going to paste it later. You're going to need that. It's going to be beneficial. So now we have the printer set up. This is in the Prepare tab, and it's important to do this side first because those settings that we just set up are what we're going to actually calibrate when we come over to Device. So now we're coming to Device. We're over here. We're going to stay on the generic filament. The default is what we're going to create. So we're going to create these little settings right here. And as you can see, I've got 1 and 2. I do not have a 3 saved in there. We're going to come up here to calibration. And this one, we're just going to hit auto calibrate. And the important part here is that we check this box that we're on the external, and you can see right here that the bed temperature is pretty much the only thing that's really changing. But if you don't check it, it's not going to work for you. So we're going to hit calibrate. This is not going to do anything special on the A1 Mini. On the A1 Mini and the A1, it just runs over to the purge area and it purges. So you can see in the bottom right hand corner that the machine is actually moving and it's going over to do its purge. And it's just going to do a quick purge into the poop area, and that's it. That's going to give us our flow calibration setting. If you look back at the device under here, the default setting is 0.02. And what we're going to end up with when our calibration is done is something around 0.0312 or 3, depending on, so this at this temperature, I don't know what it's going to be because this is new for me. I've only done 240 and 245. At 245, I just did this a few minutes ago. At 245, it was 0.031. So let's see what it is at 250. It says it's going to take like 12 minutes. It really doesn't. It takes about 3.5, 4 minutes. So I'm just going to sit here for a quick second. I'm going to check on my screen recording. Everything's looking good there. This is my first time using OBS Studios for screen recording. So it sounds like it's doing its purge over there. It should be done here in just a second. There we go, finished. We're going to hit next. Oh, look at that, 0.05. That's the highest setting I've had from any of this. So we're going to do a drop down right here. And I'm not picking any of these names, right? So what I want to do is Control V. That's why I said Control copy that one earlier. So now I have this, and it says in my setting it's 250. So it's going to save this K factor. And when I click Finish here, it's going to say that these settings were already saved to the printer. I'm going to jump back over to Device. And you can see I'm still on generic filament. But down here, it has upgraded or updated my flow factor to the new setting and this 0.05. Now when I change this to the 0.4 nozzle 2, you see it was 0.3. When I change it to my other one, this was at straight 240. At 240 it was 0.034. So the temperature setting has obviously got an impact. So I'm going to click confirm here. I'm going to jump over to the Prepare tab. And in the Prepare tab, I'm still running this setting. But I want you to see that if I come over here to Custom, I have my different settings in here. So I can change the settings. When I come over to Sync, It goes back and it just syncs to the straight generic PLA. That is not the accurate setting. You have to come down to custom and you have to pick the one you want. And now it's updated. So as long as that's good, so when you load a new file and you sync this, it's going to reset your filament right here. You have to update this. I don't know any way to make it stay in there. So coming back to calibration, I go to flow rate, and it says on here you don't need to run this test unless you see problems. I don't care. I'm going to run this test. I'm going to do a manual calibration. In here, I'm doing the complete calibration. I've got my 4 nozzle, textured PEI. I'm already checked, but on the generic PLA, I want to calibrate the actual setting that I want. So you got to change this, hit calibrate. This one is going to take a very long time. This is going to take 35 or more minutes to actually calibrate your machine. You're going to get something that looks like this picture right here. And 0 is your base starting point. 0 is the best you can achieve with the current filament setting. So if you look at all of these tests, you see this one up here in the top corner, looks worse. Don't go that way. This one right here might look better. It might look worse. I have had times when 0 was the perfect option and I made no changes after this one calibration. My goal is to get it dialed in to perfection. So on my last run at 245 temp, I had, this was a negative 10 down here. So I clicked negative 10 and then I hit next and I ran the second calibration. And the second calibration, this number was a negative 7. So I updated that and that was at my temp of 245. And now at 245, I'm getting flawless prints. I have never once had a clogged nozzle. I've never once had bad prints come off, except in the case that when I come over here and I hit sync and it says continue to filaments, it changes back to generic. This will wreak havoc on everything you do. Your nozzle will get clogged, your prints will suck, or they won't even stick to the plate, quite honestly. That's typically what happens to me. They don't stick, and that's what ends up leading to my clogged nozzle, is that stuff just gums up. So this is really your key factor. I think your failures are coming from the fact that you're not tuning, and then you're not getting this setting put in here properly. So run your calibrations, do this. I'm not going to hang out for 35 minutes, and I'm not going to come back and update this or anything. This is what you get. You follow these settings, you change it to what you think is the best looking, and then you run the second calibration to what you think is the best looking, and at that point, you should be a rock star, man. Your filament should be killing it. If you have any problems after that, I really don't know what to tell you. I don't have any suggestions other than this right here. This filament prints hot, it runs hot, it's strong as shit. I run things on a regular Bambu Lab PLA, and on this PLA, same exact file, but dialed into my settings, and one is much stronger than the other. The biggest downside of the Tangled Filament that I have seen, and I don't care about it, is that it's shiny. You know, if you don't want shiny filament, then this is not the filament for you. They're working on doing stuff. Gabe over at Tangled Filaments, Tangled POD, Tangled 3D, Tangled, no, gosh, I'm saying it all wrong. Slant 3D POD is the YouTube. His name is Gabe. He runs Tangled Filament. He talks about this a lot. This is the only tutorial I've ever seen, so this is my full walkthrough. This is what you get. I hope you like it. I hope it's helpful. Good luck.